Hello, this is Trent Chat, and this is yet another video interview. And we have another returning guest as well. And I mean, you hear her every on every episode in the beginning in our intro, and she is the best Hillary by far, by far. And so everyone see it's Hilary Kennedy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on.
So yes, so now I guess when I'm doing these video interviews, I guess maybe even though I look exactly the same, but I noticed the like my background. You can see the flag and all that, yeah. But like I'm in Roswell, New Mexico, so and just got everything set up right now, and just I guess it's a little more context I need to add because normally everything is audio, but yeah, so I'm just providing that little bit of context. But we're going to talk about a couple of things, but we're going to definitely talk about UFC 257, which is coming up.
Yeah, on Saturday
So,
night.
yep. And so I'm looking forward to seeing it somewhere, wherever I'm at. I have no idea where I'll be on Saturday, but hopefully, if not, I maybe just have to watch it on my phone as I've been doing actually, because in the past year or so because of COVID, bars, all that been closed. So most of the time, if I'm going to watch anything, it's going to be on my phone. So
Same here. It's been really hard because with pay-per-view, it is expensive. So unless you can get several friends to like chip in and come over, and because of COVID, that's also much tougher to do. So I've been doing the same thing, just trying to catch it on my phone whenever I can.
yeah, and so I know when I haven't even watched. I think I maybe watched. I haven't watched any UFC pay-per-views in a while. I've been watching the fight nights though. So because I had ESPN Plus, so I've been watching those. And but when I heard the news, seeing that Conor McGregor is coming back, I was thinking that while we have this whole COVID thing, I was thinking like he ain't coming back until everybody's back in the arena. But so he's coming back for that. But actually, I don't want to get into that yet. That's gonna be last. So I just want to first I want to mention because you were on the news and why it matters for a couple of months while Sarah was at home for maternity leave.
I
And
was.
actually, yeah, so I just want to ask you, how was that? How was those few months?
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was so nice of Sarah and Blaze Media to trust me with the show for a little over 3 months while she was gone. And I'm obviously a very different energy than Sarah because she is so larger than life and so passionate and such a huge Trump supporter. And I am more of a moderator. I love to present the topics and then listen to what the experts have to say. And that's really what I loved the most about it is I didn't give a whole lot of my own opinions because for me, when I was filling in on the show, I really wanted to hear what the experts had to say. So every episode I got to learn something that I didn't know before or hear a perspective that I hadn't considered. So I loved it because it was almost like getting to take a college class for 3 months from all of these amazing people that study these things, that are passionate about these topics, and had a lot to say.
Yeah, I was actually there for one of them when I was visiting the studio, and so yeah, it was the first time actually being in that one, actually, because I've been to the others, but it was the first time being in that particular set, and so yeah, I was there. I think yeah, that was when Chad and Eric was on there on that day, and
Yes,
but yeah, it's actually it's bigger than how you see it on TV.
it is. Well, and I have pitched you to the producers because I think you would be such a good fit to come on that show. You've got such a good, fresh, and fun perspective on things. So hopefully you'll be in the hot seat there sometime soon.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I guess maybe, one day y'all see me on there. So I appreciate the shout out. Now, as far as so with the past year and everything that's going on with the pandemic, I'm guessing that probably didn't hamper too much of your voiceover work.
No, well, I will say like starting last the end of February until maybe August, it killed a lot of my freelance work because so many
Mm,
people were afraid to move forward with projects. They didn't know what was going to happen with the economy. A lot of businesses were hurting and having to lay people off. And so it was such an uncertain time that a lot of my freelance work was definitely impacted. But around August, September, everything ramped back up. People started going full force. Everything's changed a little bit. Every audition is now via Zoom or via Skype. Nothing's in person anymore. If you book a job, they want you to take a COVID test. You have to wear a mask at all times on set if you're doing something in person. So it's definitely changed things a little bit, but for the most part, all the other aspects of my life remained pretty much the same, because working in media, you're an essential worker, so I was still going to work every day. My husband and I still went out once everything was opened up last May. We went out to dinner. We eat out all the time because I don't cook. So we were going out, trying to get together with, friends, just trying to live life as normally as possible.
Now that you said about going out and saying that you don't cook, but yet you have a kitchen in the background.
I do have a kitchen. It doesn't get a whole lot of use, I'm going to be honest. When my mom or my sister comes over, it gets a lot of use, but not from me.
Well, it's a nice kitchen nevertheless.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Now, I mean, as far as trying to get into everything about the kitchen, I'm pretty sure you probably have talked more about it on your website as well.
Oh, yes, I have. We bought an older home right kind of at the height of the pandemic. We sold our house, which was kind of scary at first because everyone kept saying in the news that houses weren't going to sell, that the stock market was going to tank, that real estate was going to be terrible. And we actually ended up selling our home, praise God, in less than 2 weeks, which was awesome. So we bought an older home that was built in 1989, and so we are remodeling it. So this was the first room that we started with, and so the kitchen is almost done. But again, with the pandemic, it's delayed a lot of things. So if you're ordering anything or trying to hire contractors, a lot of stuff is on back order, or contractors have been swamped because so many people decided after they sat at home for months that they wanted to redo their houses. So just like us, we've been trying to hire everybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, when you got that much time on your hands, I mean, especially at home, you start looking around, say, you know what, maybe I need to fix that, or maybe I need to change that, or something like that. So yeah, I can understand all that. But I know with everything as far as, like I said, the economy, and you mentioned the stock market. I remember because I kind of dibble and dabble there with the stock market, and I remember it was March. They were like the third week in March of last year. I mean, it's like everything just went down, went all the way down to the floor. It felt like it, yeah. And for a long time, and yeah, just on the stock market aspect, because it's just something. Because like I said, it's just something I dabble with, and just when you mentioned that reminded me of like, yeah, it was down for a while.
It was scary. I think a lot of people didn't know what to do. Do I pull my money out of the stock market? Do I keep my money in the bank? Do I buy Bitcoin? Do I not buy Bitcoin? All that keeps coming up too. So it's just been a many months of uncertainty. And those are the times where I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm a woman of faith and can just pray because God's in control, because there really hasn't been a whole lot we've been able to do, where all these things have been out of our control. So we've just been having to have faith that it'll all work out.
I mean, I guess the old adage that you hear when it comes to stocks in particular, look, I'm not trying to turn this to a stock segment, but what you hear is like buy low and sell high. Yep. And so that was the time. I mean, looking back at it now, just looking at the graph of the stock market, if you look at that like the third week of March to now, for the people, if anybody bought anything right around that time, it probably has doubled its worth.
Yeah.
So
I looked really closely at buying stock in some of the cruise lines because they were really struggling and their stock had gone way down. And I thought, well, cruises aren't going to just disappear off the face of the earth. And so I thought long and hard about that. I ended up buying some cryptocurrency instead, not Bitcoin, but they have all these other alternative currencies. Because Bitcoin was still pretty high, but they're doing all right. They're not doing great, but they're doing okay.
They're doing pretty. Yeah, I mean, wow, it feels like it turned into a stock segment, but when you mentioned Bitcoin, because So I use Robinhood. This is not an advertisement. Hey, if they want to, hey, be my guest. But I use Robinhood, so I was able to buy not. I didn't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. I guess I could just buy a fraction of it.
Right.
So being able to do that really helped because I definitely couldn't buy like one because it was like $9,000.
Yeah.
And look, I don't have that type of money. I know I'm doing the podcast and everything, but trust me, I'm not making that type of money. So, but yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's good to have just like a little piece of everything. I feel like, having your hand in a couple different cookie jars, it can be a thing.
Yeah, diversifying your portfolio, I guess that's another adage people say.
Yeah.
So to move away from the stock, because I am definitely no financial advisor. So, and so in talking about your your voiceover work, I remember last time we had you on there where you mentioned about you already mentioned about doing auditions and you have to do everything via Zoom. But I know you mentioned one thing that it really stuck with me only because I just found it funny and something I remember I tell people a lot when I talk about that particular interview is that that you did commercials for like drug companies where you were the voice that was saying side effects may include X, Y, and Z.
Here's these 50 things, right?
So have you done it?
I was like, okay, I'm not going to be taking any prescription drugs anymore.
So have with everything that's been going on, and have you gone to do a couple more? I don't know if you can mention them, but as far as any more of this voiceover work?
I actually do voiceover work it's local to Texas, but a Cadillac, Infiniti, and Volvo dealerships. So I do all of their their TV spots every month, which is a lot of fun. I've done several corporate spots this year just for different companies because so many of them are having to have their big leadership conventions or conferences virtually. So now they want someone to kind of voice those. So that's been really cool. I did get approached about doing a commercial about the coronavirus and constantly wearing your mask and all of those things. And I said, that's not for me. But so that was kind of interesting. So there have been a lot of those like public service announcement auditions lately for all the stuff that's been going on.
I could imagine if you was approached to do like the corona vaccine one and had to go down through all the side effects and all that.
Right, exactly. Like may cause death after the second. No, I don't know. It's been really crazy because again, there's so much information out there and you don't know which is accurate and which isn't accurate. And I think it's just been such a confusing time for people because, so many people are super excited about it. I have family members that just got it this past week and they were very excited about it. And then there are other people who are terrified of it and say, well, I saw all these people in Norway died from it. So it's been really hard to know what to do for a lot of people.
Yeah. So now to the main event. So so UFC 257 is coming up. Like I said, on Saturday. I forgot the date. It was in the top of my head. You know the actual date?
23rd, I believe.
3rd. Okay. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Okay, yeah. So on the 23rd, and so yes, I am. I'm looking forward, obviously, to the main event. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. I guess, give us your analysis about the upcoming fight.
Okay, so I think this is going to be such a great fight for people that are maybe just obviously if you're a huge fan, you're going to love it. But if you're just a casual MMA fan and you watch UFC occasionally, I think this is going to be a great one to watch because Poirier and McGregor are both great strikers. And so it's going to be an exciting fight, I think. If Poirier can make it past the first round, because when they fought back in 2014, Conor knocked him out in less than 2 minutes in the first round. Yeah. So now Poirier's grown tremendously since then. It's turned into a really formidable fighter. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think we're going to see a lot of blows on their feet, which is what makes the fight exciting. I don't want to see a bunch of on the ground, sides. I want to see people up striking each other. So I think
you don't want to see the ground and pound, as you say.
That's right. So I think it's going to be a really exciting fight, and it's one that I think, too, has a lot of heart because Poirier, when he started out back in 2014 and he and McGregor were both on the rise, he really let Conor's trash talk get to him. He was very emotional. He was far too invested in the emotional side of the fight, and it threw him off his game. So this time I think he's grown and matured, but he has this great story. He was a high school dropout. He's worked very hard to make something of himself, and he's also started this great foundation, the Good Fight Foundation, and huge stars like Khabib Nurmagomedov and McGregor. They're all making donations to his foundation, which I think is really cool. So he's a super charitable guy. He's worked hard to get to where he is. So he's got a great underdog story. And then McGregor's, I mean, he's the star of the sport. He's made it what it is today. There isn't a person alive, love him or hate him, that doesn't like to watch Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's true, because I'm pretty sure that the buy rate is going to be, it's going to be the highest, at least in the past year of all, especially with everything that's been going on.
I think so too. And McGregor hasn't fought in a year. The last time he fought was last January. When Cowboy Cerrone. So he's had a whole year to work out, train, get in the best shape of his life. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people tuning in and a lot of people placing bets. I was reading that there's already been, I think, 2 or 3 bets, maybe more, that have gone for over $100,000 where people are betting on McGregor being the winner. So a lot of money could be made on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, I don't know, have you seen any of the embedded videos? I haven't seen really any of them lately, but have you seen the one for this one coming up?
I haven't, actually.
Okay. So, well, the only thing about it is, so they're fighting at Fight Island in, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And so one thing, like I said, I haven't been watching the other ones for the previous pay-per-views, but first thing I noticed is that the protocol that they go through, as far as, having everybody quarantined and everything. And so I just found it. So if you get a chance to watch it later on, it just, when Conor shows up at the hotel, I think he's at the W Hotel over there in Abu Dhabi. And when he arrives, everybody is literally in hazmat suits. When he comes in, everybody, I mean, they got the gloves, they got the full suits on and everything, like, when he comes in. And I was just like, wow. I mean, the protocol and everything that they go through. I mean, and I understand, because, especially between those two in particular, because you don't want anybody, hitting positive before the fight.
Yes, absolutely. They worked so hard to get to this point, and it could lead to a title fight depending on who wins. And Khabib even said he might be willing to come out of retirement if he sees someone who interests him, Saturday night, so that he could have a 30-0 perfect record. So who knows if that's true or not. He seemed like he was. I took him seriously when he said he was going to retire. Unlike Conor, who has retired like 3 or 4 times. It's all for show. But Khabib, I thought, really was ready to walk away, and maybe he's not done. Maybe he's got one more fight left in him. So I don't want anybody testing positive for coronavirus for lots of reasons, but especially because there's so much riding on this fight.
Yeah, I know. I saw when Dana White was talking about his conversation, and I think what Dana said there was, as far as at the time when he announced his retirement, he was in a very emotional place at that time, because his father just died and a lot of stuff was going on.
Right.
So maybe now that he is saying that he is thinking about it, and like I said, like what Dana said, I think was very true, as far as maybe a lot of emotions were going on at the time, and now he's had some time to kind of sit back. Maybe maybe now I'm pretty sure, even regardless of what happened, I think he's going to come out sooner or later. For at least one more fight, at least.
Yeah, I hope he does. I would love to see he and McGregor fight again. I don't know that that's going to happen. They've had so much bad blood, but that would be an awesome rematch.
Yeah. So I mean, well, first off, do you have any other fights in the card that you maybe are looking to?
So I didn't know a lot of the other fighters. I haven't, again, this year has been a hard year to follow the fights as closely as I normally do, just because of the election and everything that's been going on there. And I was working on 2 shows. There's one other major fight. I've got it. I didn't follow either of these fighters, and my husband was like, no, this is going to be an amazing matchup. Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker. So
okay, yeah.
I know but I haven't watched them fight all that often. And so that's going to be a really good one too. People are excited about that. But the other names on the card, I was kind of like, I'll be interested to watch them fight, but I'm really there just for McGregor and Poirier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the majority of people are as well. I mean, myself included, because like I said, I haven't watched one, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch this one. So before we go, I guess tell us about HilaryKennedy.com.
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah, I have a website with a blog, and I just kind of do a little bit of lifestyle stuff, tell people about what we're doing. So I have a couple posts about us remodeling our kitchen and walking through like what we did there since we moved into this older home. It's kind of interesting to share with people the things that we're changing, how we're budgeting, the stuff that we're choosing for in the house, because a lot of that was stuff I didn't know. I've never remodeled a house before. So I'm doing a lot of that. And then I also have a 2-year-old son. So I write some things about, things that are good for toddlers, whether it's toys or food or activities. So I've been doing a lot of that. And then, of course, I love style and fashion and beauty and all the girly stuff. So I write about some of that too. So on my social media, a lot of my Twitter and Instagram, I will talk about some work things. But on my blog, it's a lot of my personal life.
Okay. Well, you already mentioned social media. So if people want to find you on social media and get in contact outside of, I guess, other than HilaryKennedy.com, where would it go?
They would go to Instagram. I'm just at Hilary Kennedy, and that's Hilary with one L. So HilaryKennedy.
All right. I just want to say thank you for being on, these past couple of times. And also, again, I thank you all the time for doing the intro for the show, and definitely want to say thank you a million times, as much as possible. So just thanks for everything you've done.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate it. You were so kind to invite me on and include me, and you've done an amazing job. You put together a great show, and you have some awesome guests. So I feel really lucky to be a part of it.
All right. Well, I had the best Hilary on just now, and so it is complete now. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. You take care.